Hello, photography students. How's everybody doing? This is my video critique of this week's photos, and this was our first real big assignment photo shoot. So first, let me just say that if you would prefer that I don't talk about your photos on the video critique and you'd rather have private feedback, please just let me know. I don't mind doing that at all, but otherwise we can all learn from everyone's pictures, and so that's the way I prefer to do it. And I have to keep looking down because of the ring light. Otherwise, I mean, if I could just get to the point where I can record during the daylight, I mean, I'd be good, but that day job. So let me put myself out of the way, and first of all, I wanted to show you something about creating a thread, because I think Sid had a question right away about sizing your images. So I will tell you that when you have a vertical image, portrait mode, you're going to get, somehow draw and zoom keeps turning on. I have no idea. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean by that, what I just said. So now let's see. Some pictures on here. This is a painting I was interested in because I see a lot of photographers doing something in this style, so I saved it. So if I click on the photo, the JPEG, I can resize it. So if you want all of your images to be the same size, that's one way you can do it. And then if you hit return, you can add your next image. So remember, it's just the plus sign, insert local files, and then you just have to tell, you might have your memory card plugged in over here. So if you want to just add it right from your memory card, you could do that. If you've got your phone plugged in and you've got it in your photos, you just have to tell it where you want to find the picture. So this is a picture from my art history class. And then notice in this case that the vertical is smaller than the horizontal, so you never can tell. It's usually about the quality of the image, like the resolution. And then if I wanted to make this bigger, I can, so it's kind of the same size as my other images. And that's really all there is to it. And then I just submitted it. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Okay. Alright, we're going to start with Sid. And Sid, I just love how you obviously read and watched all the videos, and you're very specific in how you're talking about each one. And so she's getting up close, rule of thirds, contrast, background simple, and framing. Getting up close. Okay, good. And I think everybody appreciated your up close images. Which, you can also refer to them as macro, super close-ups. Okay, and I love that you're explaining each one. That is so helpful to the viewer. And I really enjoyed reading all of this detail. So that is wonderful. I hope that you will continue to keep that up. And those of you who have not done that, I have no information about your photos or what compositional rule you chose for each one. You might want to go back in and update that, because you'll notice on your grade that you're missing parts of the assignment. Okay, so I do have bigger versions of these photos. This one was one of your popular ones. And again, do you see how they just, the larger images, the larger quality images just kind of took over? And then the smaller images, you know, they're like teeny tiny. So let me show you, try and do a slideshow of these, now that we know a little bit about each one. So this is Bridge, and you guys are going to be getting into that this week. So it's opening it up in Photoshop for me because it's just like my automatic, what I have it set to. Let me try and fit it in my recording window. I want to be able to see the entire image. Okay, so once I fit it into the frame, we can see that this is really a beautiful image. You've got a very shallow depth of field, so you must have had a wide aperture here, because we only see this little, I don't even know what to call it. I know it's a succulent, and I think these are called hens and chicks. But beautiful, beautiful. And then everything else, just about everything else that's not in that plane of focus is blurred. So that is a super shallow depth of field. You must have a nice big lens or a nice big aperture. So that is lovely. And then one more thing I want to show you in Photoshop while we're in here is that even if you don't have, even if you haven't taken raw images yet, which some of you have, you can still use up top in Photoshop, there's a filter on the toolbar. And you can go to a camera raw filter and you can adjust it just as if you were having a raw image. And it is just so much fun. You will love this. These toolbars are amazing. So clarity is one of my favorites. Saturation is a favorite. Contrast. And these are my favorites in Photoshop as well. And I'll show you some more tricks when we get to actual raw files. Okay, so let me just put this one out of the way. Alright, so wonderful work there, Sid. I'm not saving that. I'll put Bridge out of the way. And I love how you talked about each image. You know, this one about how you can see the little grains of sand, I thought that that was so interesting. And then apparently you were all over the place on your photo walk, so not sure what this is, but I think you were arranging a composition. And then your daughter is adorable. And I think that you're saying this is rule of thirds because of the level of her eyes and maybe also the pacifier, because they do kind of fall on those horizontal thirds. And this would be like filling the frame. With your pup over here, I think that the problem with this photo, even though your dog is adorable sitting on the couch, is that we always need to turn off the flash. Please, please, please don't ever rely on the flash unless you're going for some kind of artistic idea, because flash is so unflattering. It really is. So you can see, you know, these bright white highlights on the leather, and this is just not the most flattering light. So you can use all kinds of things like candle light or natural light or window light, and it'll be much more flattering. So you can see how your natural outdoor photos, the lighting is so pretty. So I think you did a wonderful job. Oh, only good photo you have. Very, very good this week. So you did everything I asked for. And you got some really good feedback. Alrighty, let's go to our next victim. Which would be Abby. Alright, Abby, I think the rule of thirds is really the most popular photography rule that has ever existed. And I like how you described it here. And you wrote about the 3 rules that you chose. Great, great, great. So this is wonderful. Excellent version of the rule of thirds. I love that photo. And this one as well. And I like that you have a low horizon. That lighting is beautiful. This one I do wonder why you changed it to black and white. And I think that that's a thing that new photographers do a lot. They think that black and white is going to make it look more like a fine art piece. And I'm going to be on the other side of that. I'm going to say that I really want to see the real life version. So if I could see the color version of this, I mean, I would really love to. And it's beautiful. And I like your low angle. Nice little reflection here. Great, great, beautiful photo. Look at those leading lines. And so your subject is, you know, the light. And I love the light flare. A lot of people, you know, think that those are like an aberration, and I think they're wonderful. This is also very nice. One thing I'm noticing right off the bat is your pictures are all different sizes. So what I'm thinking is either you cropped, or like for this, for example, this one is a camera, whereas this one down here is a cell phone image. You know, see, it's very tall and vertical. I mean, you're doing everything that you need to be doing, but eventually we're going to have to work towards having the same, all of our pictures the same aspect ratio. So that's like the same dimensions. So if it's, you know, 10 inches tall by 8 inches wide, for example, when you go to crop it, all of your images in a series will need to be that same size, if that makes sense. And I really like this one that you said, sorry it got dark. I think it's so interesting. And I think you got some very nice feedback. This I thought was a cute comment, Cody. Yeah, you got a lot of nice feedback, so very well done, Abby. All right, I'm trying not to talk too long because I know you're going to end up wanting to skip through it, and, you know, I would rather that you get to see what's going on with everybody else, because we are a team here, you know. We're a group. We're talking about each other's photos. We're going to try and help each other improve and give, you know, honest, thoughtful feedback. So here's Astrid. Astrid really had a variety of images. Okay, I'm just reading this really quickly. Refresh my memory. I absolutely love this photo, Astrid. Let me try and make it a little smaller. I don't know if I can. It's just beautiful. The lighting is gorgeous. You know how you have that dappled light coming through the tree. That's beautiful. And I mean, I'm going to say in this case I don't mind the black and white, but I would still like to see color. I mean, if you're going to make a whole series black and white, then I understand that. But I wouldn't just go here and there. You know, like one black and white and the rest color. We're going to try and work towards making series of images. And this was such a surprise. So cute. It's like a little Toy Story. That's what I do with my younger kids. They set up little stories and it's just very popular. That is so cute. And then I really enjoy these, you know, action shots too. You were really thoughtful about making these feel like real characters. Again, so much like the Toy Stories that we create with my younger kids. And I like that you're sharing two different versions of this photo, because you know, here this character is the highlight, you know, because he's in focus. And then she's blurred out in the background, so she's of lesser importance. But you really did a great job with a shallow depth of field. And then here we have kind of the opposite. So here's your hero character over here, or heroine. That's a hero. And then your figure in the in the closer area is blurred out. Great shadow. So interesting. Now here, the face of this character is a little bit blurred out, and the focus is so shallow that right here is our you know, clearest point in the image. So I wonder about that, if you intended that to be, you know, a little dreamy. Super clear of this orange, very nice framing. And then at first I wanted to say this was a magnolia blossom, but I don't think it is. It's another type of tree flower. And then this beautiful pop of color with Link in the blur. I have to say I prefer this one. But then I kind of not sure what this is. So I think there's just a little bit of playing around with that idea. And those rays of light. Wow, how great this photo turned out with these three looking to the sun. You know, it really tells a story. So wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to sound like Lawrence Welk. You probably don't know who that is. That's from the 70s. Okay. So excellent work, Abby. And then we've got, oh wait, that was Astrid, sorry. Now we've got Lauren. Okay, so Lauren, I see all of your writing and your ideas here, but I don't see any images attached. Do you see? Even if it was a super large image like a raw file, it would at least show a link that we could click on. If it's a JPEG, it's going to actually, you know, insert the image. But here, I would just go ahead and try that again, try inserting them. And then we can get to see. Oh, wait a minute, Lauren, you did it! All right, I hadn't even seen these or saved them. Okay, wow, that is so bright in color. I'm going to guess you must have done some editing there. And that's really pretty, nice low horizon. this little, I think that's a person, really gives us a sense of scale of how large those trees are. That's beautiful. And I love how straight your horizons are. I'm really a stickler for that. The straighter the better. And I'll show you how to do that too, if you're having trouble with straight horizons. And that's lovely too. Beautiful colors. And then here on the next one, you're demonstrating the difference of a different focal point. So you focused on something more into the distance. So here is our, like our zone of clarity where you focused. So, ooh, that's gorgeous. I'm a real sucker for a shallow depth of field. So those of you who have figured that out already, applause, applause, applause. Oh, look at those leading lines. And we've even got some framing of the walkway. Very nice. And the shadows are so interesting too. Wow, I'm not even sure what I'm seeing here, but it looks like a little mossy patch in the woods. Beautiful. And how the light is hitting just that mossy patch and dappled light coming in through the woods. Love that. And then we have another leading lines. Oh, that's okay, Lauren. So wonderful. I love that you've written about everything and you're very specific in naming each photo, what you were looking for. Okay. Excellent, Lauren. Thank you so much for getting in there and getting that fixed really quick. Okay, here we go. Next victim. So next is Cody. And I think Cody really stood out for us with his writing this week. I was so impressed by how personal you made it, and you really described it like poetry. And I love that you named each image and you really kept a running theme throughout your photo shoot. And you were so specific about what you were trying to convey. You can do it either way. I mean, it's for us as in a class, it's so interesting to hear what you were going for. But then on the other end, you know, when you get done with the class, you're going to want to be able to take images that speak for themselves. So you don't have to tell the viewer what to see. But regardless, because we're in the beginning here, this is just incredible. So I have downloaded, I think I'm just going to go ahead and re-download one. So this DNG extension, that is a raw file. So congratulations, Cody, on going for it, getting that raw file. And so I want to show you exactly what happens when you open up a raw file and you have Photoshop. It's going to take you right to Camera Raw. So I can show you some things in there. So this is really a good photo. It's got a really good structure to it. You know, we've got these leading lines. There's a lot of interest here. But I wanted to show you some things you can do in Camera Raw. So first of all, it's a little bright. So I would probably take the exposure down a little bit. So these are the basic tools up here with the levels, the sliders. And I would probably reduce highlights a little. So you're just going to gradually start to see a little bit more detail. And the clarity is just fantastic, this clarity slider. You are going to love that. And contrast, love, love, love. Contrast almost does what happens between a RAW file and a JPEG. It kind of enhances colors a little bit. It brings out light against dark so you can see more detail. And then vibrance is, of course, awesome. And saturation is amazing. So these are just a few of my favorite things. And I try never to go overboard. I still want it to look believable, you know, like it's real. Not like it's been overdone. So there's a lot of things you can play with in there. And then you can either click Done, or you can click Open if you want to open it in Photoshop. And there, it just takes you right over there. Sometimes when I get to Photoshop, I see, I want to do a little bit more. So you guys are actually going to be editing this week. So this is a good idea to pay attention here. And one of the things I do is I go up to Window and Workspace and click on Photography. Because really, you know, we're not really doing digital artwork. We're doing straight up photography. And again, there is a filter called Camera Raw. If you wanted to go back into that, you can do that. And then when you're happy, you just do File, Save As. You want to give it a new name. You want to save it as a JPEG. Those are things that you can do. And we'll talk a lot more about that. Okay, so I'm not going to save it. I'm not going to take that liberty. And the difference here is, because these are raw files, we only see a link. And this one is actually a JPEG. So if I take that into Photoshop, it's not going to go directly to Camera Raw. Let's see. So, wonderful photos. I think I did want to show you one more thing about a raw image. So let's try this one. I think this one has a sky. Wait till it downloads. Yes. Okay. So now this is a, you know, kind of a stormy day, dark sky, gray sky. But I wanted to show you, if you would like to enhance the sky a little bit, how to do it. So here in Camera Raw, you can do a mask. And these little fly out videos show you kind of what it does. So if you click on the mask button, you can try selecting the sky, but I find that when you have trees involved, it doesn't really work very well because it wants to avoid the trees. So then you get, like, say you're changing the color to be more blue. You'll get white around the trees and then blue in a separate area, so it doesn't really work. So just a tip. So I'm going to try linear gradient. And with this one, let me just move this out of the way. That's not what I wanted. Just get out of this. just try that again. It wanted to do what I wanted it to do, but okay. So moving this out of the way. And now I'm just going to, on the image, I'm going to click. Hold on 1 second till I figure this out. Okay, let's try that again. So sometimes all the tools don't want to work inside of a video recording. So here, what we're doing is creating a new mask, and what I want is linear gradient. And if you start, you see that little crossbar? If you start at the top of the image and then just kind of drag down till you get all of the sky, that's your masked area. And you can take down the exposure. You can increase contrast. You can make the temperature cooler so it kind of brings in some of those blues rather than yellows. And then slide down and saturate it a little bit. So it just brought a little subtle blue into the sky. And then if you want to continue editing that image, you can. And I'll show you before and after. Okay, so there is a nice little difference there. Okay, just a little quick thing with skies. All right. Let's get moving because I feel like, you know, it's getting long. Woo. Okay, so we are on Ben. And Ben, I do want to say that I find that your writing is not very specific about the compositional rules. I mean, this is good that you're saying what rules you used, but I would like you to be more specific about what you learned. That was a lot of material. And then the first thing I noticed when I started to look at your pictures is this one was one you shared from your past photos. And this one I've seen before as well. So I kept going down through and I see that all of these pictures were taken in October. So it's in the file information, and we're going to need you to take new photos for each assignment, and they have to be created within that week. So I hope that you'll resubmit and get that score that you can easily earn. I mean, you just have to go out and take some new pictures. Okay, and oh, that was my test. Oh, that's where it showed up. Haha, funny. I thought it was going to show up on the top, but it didn't. That was just my little resize test. And then here's Donovan. So Donovan, I really like your write-up about, you know, a little backstory about your photo shoot. And so I was really interested in that. And it really does. This photo shoot does tell a story. So I enjoyed the story. But I don't really see anything about the material that we covered this week, you know, all the compositional rules. And so I don't know what you were going for with each of these images as far as the compositional rules. So I'm hoping that you'll add that in, you know, just reply to your own post and just add that information in. And then this one didn't attach, and I was really interested to see the most messed up train track in Dothan. So please add that one back in. And then this is really beautiful. I love that. I mean, I'm sad that you were blinded for a few seconds, but we got this great starburst in the sky, so that's cool. And I think it's really an interesting urban collection, you know, of what the kind of things that you're going to see if you're out walking, like you said, on the railroad tracks. And I love that this was the only little bit of green growing up between the rocks, you know. You go, little weed. and interesting shadows that you captured. So we really get a sense of what this place is like. And this is a very nice low angle. So that would be a high horizon. And then these appear to be screen caps from your phone. So it's not that I don't like the image, but I do want to see just the image rather than a screen cap. So just moving forward. And it's cool that you got a model in your photo, even though he didn't seem too interested. It kind of goes right along with the story. And I don't think that you need to find more artistic places to shoot. I mean, anybody can go on vacation and shoot a beautiful picture of a mountain or a lake or, you know, something amazing. But what if you're stuck in your own backyard? You know, that's more challenging. And I would challenge you to continue with this type of story. So I think your images are really well done. And here's Antoine. Antoine, I think, had a lot of great feedback for all of us this week. And he really, Antoine, you really speak like an artist. So it sounds like you know a lot about composition, about the elements and principles of art. And I agree. The way the elements are arranged. It sometimes you get lucky, but rarely. You know, it's the ones that are intentional that turn out the best. So rule of thirds, leading lines, curving lines. And I love the color in this. I mean, that's such a beautiful color. That said, I don't really see any sharp area of focus here. So I don't know if that was your intention, you know, to have like a soft, kind of dreamlike image. But it just gives us a place where we know to look if there's a focal point. And this image I love. This is like really filling the frame, and it's like, it's variety, you know, it's a variety of young leaves, but it's almost like unity as well, since you know so much about the elements and principles. So it's such a nice repetition of color and direction and shape. And this is very nice too. So that's close up and framing. And that's a very cool sky, very interesting. This one I really like too. I love how you're filling the frame with your subject. It's fascinating to look for the patterns. And then I think this one, it will be leading lines. And this one almost looks like a split image. So I think I found that interesting too. And the bark, such great example of texture. And wow, you really got some nice color. Blue in the sky against the dullness of the bark. And that's interesting too. All right, Antoine, well done. And we've got Rachel. Rachel, I love that you mentioned filmmaking because you can use a lot of that knowledge in photography as well, and still images as well. So when we get into shutter speed, panning is a great way to take an image of a moving subject. And you'll see what I mean more when we get to that project. And relics, I'm curious of what you mean by relics. Like old objects, maybe? Okay, so you've got leading lines, and shadows are interesting. And then you've got this focal point here that's obvious. Now, some of these I wondered why it was appears to be faded out and low contrast. So I'm not sure if you were editing to make it that way. So I'm really curious about that. This is a nice image. I like this little tunnel here and the low perspective. And then more leading lines. And that's nice too. I love seeing the leaves lit up, backlit. And again, this one is, you know, that's got that faded out look, but wow, look at those leading lines. They are awesome. And then that one appears faded too, even though it's, you know, it's such bright colors and beautiful light. So I'd be interested in what you have to say about that, if you lowered the contrast perhaps. Okay, and here's Belinda, last but not least. Okay, yes, I remember that you said it was the most fun to leave room for motion. So I just, you know, it gave me a little chuckle. So looks like somebody had a birthday. Very cute. And this is interesting too. I don't see a focal point, but I love those colors. You know, it's like heather. Reminds me of Wuthering Heights, if you've ever read that or seen the movie. I would love this little duck were more clear. Oh, High Horizon, good. And those colors too. I have to wonder if you didn't edit that a little bit. But such interesting patterns. Yes, repetition. And a low horizon, good. Now this is where I started really finding it entertaining. Those birds, oh my gosh, that is hysterical. I love it. And even this duck. So cute. And that's got to be hubby, because I see him later on. What a cute picture. And this little baby, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. She's a supermodel. And I love the shallow depth of field here. That is just wonderful. And this is so cute with interaction. Oh, it's just really cute. And the wing. What an image to capture. It's got motion. It's got clarity. Very nice. Okay, I hope that helped everyone with the kind of things that I'm looking for, and I'll be giving you specific, you know, where I'm taking off points if I am indeed. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Let me know if you need anything or if you have any questions. Bye.